Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga, and of course, our job is to bring you up to speed with what's happening in the polity at midday. So let's begin with what's going on in Abuja as we speak. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is continuing with his consultative meeting with election stakeholders, and today he's meeting with members of civil society organizations. The commission started this round of consultative meeting on Monday with the leaders of political parties in preparation for the Edo-Ondo polls. The meeting has been slated to continue till Friday, when the commission will have met with all the critical stakeholders, including the media and security agencies. The objective is to bring the attendees up to speed with the preparations for the elections in Ondo and Edo. Today's meeting with the CSOs is critical as the civil society organizations will serve as election observer groups in the forthcoming off-season or off-cycle elections, as we like to call it. Well, the INEC chairman in an earlier meeting asked political parties and their candidates to play by the rules as he expresses serious concerns over the tension and violence that has been trailed or that has trailed some of the campaigns in Edo State. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu also notes that some of the political parties are yet to submit the list of their polling and collation agents. That's despite the fact that the portal for registration will close today, July the 30th.
The campaign period has often been characterized by acrimony and tension. Sadly, it is also a period of verbal abuse and physical confrontation among parties, candidates, and their supporters. The Commission finds the recent event in Edo State, resulting in the death of a security personnel, worrisome. The Commission will meet with the security agencies under the aegis of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, and the meeting has been scheduled for Friday this week. I want to assure you that security in Edo and Ondo will be a major issue for discussion at the meeting. 3 parties are yet to upload a single polling agent, while 5 parties have not uploaded a single agent for ward, local government, or state collation centers. The deadline is tomorrow, Tuesday, 30th July 2024, when the portal automatically shuts down at midnight.
So those are basic housekeeping requirements by political parties, according to the INEC chairman, and so they will be racing against time, especially with the Edo elections that is first to come in the series of off-cycle elections before the end of the year 2024. Let's tell you also that President Bola Tinubu has signed the minimum wage bill into law, which sets the new national minimum wage at 70,000 naira. The president signed the bill during the Federal Executive Council meeting at the council chambers with the National Assembly delegation led by the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Labor or State for Labor were among some of the ministers invited to speak by the president. The president said everything will be done to ensure the act is implemented speedily.
Effort will be made to ensure that there is speedy and full implementation of this new all-important minimum wage act, definitely at the federal level, but also we will encourage that this is a national minimum wage.
Have shown that they are ready to walk the talk. So congratulations to Nigerian workers, and we are glad that not just in 5 years, in about 3 years' time, we'll be reviewing the minimum wage, and by what has transpired this afternoon, by all the things that President is doing, I know that we are going to come back strong.
And so that's as far as the minimum wage is concerned. The members of the National Assembly have commended the signing of this bill into law. Speaking after the signing ceremony at the State House, the President of the Senate and the Majority Leader of the House hailed President Bola Tinubu, describing it as a great day for the Nigerian worker.
This is minimum. This is not maximum. Any employer that has a capacity can pay as much as you want, but no Nigerian worker will offer services and be paid anything less than 70,000 from today. That is the implication of this act. It applies all over the nation. And we're excited that this is happening at a time like this through President Bola Tinubu, a man who cares for the Nigerian workers.
In addition to signing the Northeast Development Commission Act, the Northwest Development Commission Act, the Southeast Development Commission Act, this has never happened in Nigeria. So I think this movement from 30 to 70 and reducing the negotiation years is clear demonstration of a commitment to redirect, refocus, and reposition Nigeria for greatness. I think we commend.
So as soon as we get the details of all of that, Bill, we'll let you know right here on the program. Because as at the last bill, which is now amended, is not every category of worker, or every category of employer that is meant to pay the amount. But let's see what this holds, because the Senate President has said every worker, house help and all of that. But in the previous one, there were exemptions, including if you don't have up to 25 people in your employment, if they are part-time basis, commission or piece rate and all of that. So when we see the content of this signed bill, we'll be able to let you and inform you exactly what the position of the law now is. But that was not all that happened at the State House. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, believes that there is no need for the planned nationwide protest, maintaining that most of the demands of the protesters are being addressed by the government. The minister said this while addressing State House correspondent after the FEC meeting in Abuja.
The position of the Federal Executive Council is that most of the demands that the protesters are making are actually being addressed by the federal government. And therefore, it is the view of government that there is really no need for the protest again. Indeed, the president is already protesting on their behalf by doing those things that they want government to do. For example, the effort that government is making in ensuring that food is being made available. There is also rice that is being sold at about 50% of its cost. Centers have been created so that those who need this rice can go there and buy this rice at 40,000 naira. In the first instance, about 10 trucks are being made available to each of these states. Government has not pretended that these supplies are indeed enough, but these are necessary first steps that are being made.
Added that the situation on the ground was not caused by the administration of President Bola Tinubu, but he has risen to the occasion.
So I want to use this opportunity to call on those who are attempting to foment trouble, that you have a right to protest. It's your fundamental right. It is there in the Constitution, but you don't have a right to destabilize the country. A right to protest should not be turned into a right to unleash violence. It's very clear that people who are already, it's already very amorphous, very faceless. So what it means is that people are preparing to loot and go around and do all sorts of things. Where we are today was not caused by 1 year's administration. It is the outcome of years of insecurity. Many people could not go to farms for almost 10 years and all that, and the president has risen to the occasion. I'm excited that, yes, indeed, the government is doing what it should. And we, the leaders in the National Assembly, we are touching our various constituencies So my appeal to the Nigerian youth is do not allow any group to mislead you politically. People who probably did not have their fortunes in 2023 election are thinking they can come to the back door. That will amount to anarchy. Any destruction of any property will cost Nigeria money, and we don't have the money. Instead, let's put the money in developing you and developing your environment instead of going to rebuild.
The issue of protests has generated loads of talking points. So we're not done with it. The senior advocate of Nigeria, Ebun-Olu Adegboruwa, has again written to the Inspector General of Police to make available the contact details of its officers who will be designated to cover the planned public meetings, rally processions, to ensure a peaceful and crisis-free outing. The lawyer, who is also writing as a solicitor to the Take It Back movement, also listed some of the points of convergence for the said public meetings, rallies, and processions to include in Abuja, the Eagle Square, Alausa Park in Lagos, and opposite Wema Bank, Akpakpava Lane in Benin City. The other locations are opposite School of Agriculture in Bauchi, Rosewale Filling Station, that's in Ibadan. Maiduguri Roundabout, opposite State Stadium, Damaturu in Yobe State, Rainbow Roundabout and Pantani Stadium in Rivers, and Freedom Park in Osogbo. With regard to the request of the IGP for a meeting today, Adegboruwa, senior advocate of Nigeria, requested that the meeting be enlarged and held virtually in order to give room for all stakeholders to attend. He specifically mentioned that the meeting will be led by senior advocate of Nigeria, Falana, and will also have in attendance representatives of the Nigerian Bar Association, other lawyers, and civil society organizations. Let's now have that conversation with our guests. As far as this protest is concerned, joining us from our Abuja studio is the president of the United Nigeria Youth Congress, Mr. Nessa Chemba. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Chemba, thank you so much for coming on the program.
All right, thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much.
All right, so I'm sure you're pro the protest. So let's begin with one of the things that government has mentioned is the fact that they are meeting some of the demands or the demands of the protesters. So before you respond to whether or not they are meeting your demands, what are the demands of the protesters?
All right, good afternoon, Nigerians. You see, under the United Nigerian Youth Congress, since the beginning of maybe after this election, we promised ourselves that whoever emerged to be the president, we will support him and give him the maximum support for the benefit of our country. We also believe that if he succeeds, whoever becomes the president, if he succeeds, it is of the best interest of our country, because we believe he will be better than the past government. We have seen a lot of wrongdoings, a lot of things that happened, in the last government. So unfortunately, it's over a year today, and the damages or the situation we found ourselves today are almost double or 3 times, bigger than the situations it was in the last 4 or 8 years of the former president. Whatever, nevertheless, the country in general there are a lot of things that needs to be looked upon. It is an understatement to even think that to question whether Nigerians are suffering or not. Just last 3 months, I used one of the commercial vehicles, and someone close to me was crying on phone that he doesn't even have 2,000 naira to buy medicine. A very old man. So I want to, the government to understand that we are the ones very close to the people, and the people we understand, or we are part of the common people. The people understand that the government or those in power have no interest of Nigeria and have no interest, to solve the problems of our country today. Most of those who are in political positions today are doing this way because of their personal interests. And most of them believe that if they are in a certain position, it is their time to have their own national cake. So these are the things that have been happening for over years in our country, for over decades, and no one is talking about it. And it shows that there is no political will to solve most of our problems in our country today. Of last month, the United Nigerian Youth Congress have formed a National Youth Conference. And this conference was aimed at bringing lasting solutions to most of our challenges that we face in our country. But unfortunately, after invitations to ministers, to even the security agencies, no one even listened to us or even, tried to send a delegation. But fortunate enough, Nigerians came to understand that those in power are totally not in their own interest, in their personal interest. So these kind of issues, there's a total barrier between those who are in power, and those who are being governed. You see, the barrier is too much. A politician, you can't even access a member of your House of Representatives, a member, representing your constituencies. We have seen how some of the principal officers, even in the National Assembly,
Mr. Chamber, if
how
I
they
may
are,
butt in.
Moving around.
Yeah, if I may butt in, I ask in specifics because sometimes the government tells the fact that what are the demands besides hunger that they are meeting. So let me reel out some of the things they are saying they have done. They said for the workers, they've increased minimum wage. They are distributing food, although they acknowledge the fact that this food may not be enough, but it's a first step. They said they've also started the Students' Loan Fund. That's the NEL Fund. They've ensured that LG has autonomy. And they've listed a couple of other things. I know that on Bayo Onanuga's page, which is one of the spokespersons of the president, he said that some people are saying they should reinstate a corruption-free subsidy regime to reduce hunger, starvation, and multidimensional poverty. He said that reforms are in progress in the petroleum sector and all of that. So that's why I'm asking the question, with the effort that they say they are putting in, is it good enough for you to, are you appeased to an extent to reconsider your position, or this is not good enough? And what strong, drastic action we want government to take to ensure that maybe the people will rethink their action?
Yes, of course, I have to congratulate the president for adding the minimum wage. But most of the solutions they are bringing now are more of, temporary solutions. And the major solutions, major things that need to be addressed are not being addressed yet in our country. Now, if you're talking of course, I have to also congratulate him on the issue of local government autonomy. This is a very bold step, and kudos to the Mr. President. But there are a lot of things that need to be put in place apart from, the issue of, addition of the minimum wage and also local government autonomy. A lot of factors, most of these policies don't reach to the grassroots or the common person. There are a lot of government policies that in paper you'll see it are very fantastic policies. But who are those to implement those policies? Have those policies reach to the very grassroots or the very targeted people in our country? The answer is no. We have seen since the last administration or previous administrations on how policies, in paper, you'll see them more of fantastic policies. But when it comes to the implementation, it's a disaster because it can never reach to the exact people that needs to be reached. Whether you're talking of, a policy that will bring, maybe will give agricultural sector or farmers incentives, whether a policy maybe that will give, people importing some certain essential of goods to the people. At the end, you'll see them in market. In fact, of recent, I saw a video of some of these palliatives. Other people are, repackaging it and selling it. So how do you expect Nigerians to believe in whatever maybe the government will say, All
right, Mr. Chamber, let me ask you another straight question. My apologies. Let me ask you another straight question. So if the government comes, because there had been advocacy saying to the president, the young people are angry, they are hungry. Everybody knows how things are bad. Things are really, really bad. The cost of living is quite high. Things are so expensive. Inflation is some of the highest in the last 20, 25 years or so. So when we look at all the numbers, everybody, even the government knows that it's really tough time. And two policies brought us here. Removal of fuel subsidy, floating of the naira. So if the president calls young people, not necessarily your group, but representation of young people or everybody who is organizing this to say, what 2, 3 actions, I didn't say more than 3, 2 or 3 actions you want me to take now that will make you not to go on the street that you feel will change our fortune? What will those things be?
All right, if you are asking me on my personal...
not your personal level. It's not a personal problem. It's not a... Okay. It's a Nigerian issue. We have a problem in our country. The cost of living is very high for everybody and all of that. So yes. 3 things or 2 that can help better the fortune of Nigeria so that life can be a bit easier, so that people will not have to go on the street to protest, which is why they are even going there? What will it be?
All right, first of all, the issue of security is one of the major problems that we face in our country today. Farmers cannot go to their farms and farm, without being scared. Most of the farms are being, are being abandoned because of the lack of security. Secondly, the government, the president should show the political will to solve most of these problems. There are a lot of ministers that we have today who are totally not functioning. Let him start by that. The president should look at the ministers who are not functioning and let him suspend them or bring people who are able to, give certain solutions to the country's challenges. Thirdly, he has to look at critically on the issue of agriculture. And these issues that I'm only listening to these issues because this will be more of a permanent solution to all this agitation or, all this protests and everything. If the president would be able to solve the issue of hunger in our country alone, which I don't believe in some of the policies, of selling a bag of rice of 40,000, for how long will it take? How long will it be? So these are some of the things that the president as an organization, the president needs to look, as a president, he needs to look on these certain issues critically, the issue of security, the issue of economy, and the issue of agriculture. Okay,
all right, Mr. Chamber, we're winding down on the program, so I listed what you said. Change cabinet, that can be done immediately. But the other ones are long-term, security and agriculture. There are people that are saying you should revert back to the subsidy and make it corruption-proof or corruption-free. Do you agree that I should repay, although a lot of people believe subsidy is being paid anyway, but to go full-blown and start paying subsidies? Is that what you want as well?
Yes, it must have skipped my mind. The issue of subsidy is what brought us to this situation that we are in this country today. Now, I will also talk about the issue of, Dangote refinery and everything. If the problem of Dangote, even though the president have signed an order to give Dangote crude oil and everything, but if we can walk through the refinery of Dangote on the issue of fuel in Nigeria, I think we must have solved the, issues of the fuel subsidy and everything. And then again, if every Nigerian today needs to look in his car, Dangote does not have to tell Nigerians that we are using bad fuel in our country today. Everyone should check his car. Is there check engine in his car today? Which 99% of the cars that we are driving today have this check engine. So the issue of fuel issue, if the president will be able to solve this, then we must have solved more than 50 or 60% of our problem.
All right.
It is the right for every Nigerian to protest, and I will make it I will make our case. It is a stand. It is our It is our constitutional right for every Nigerian to protest.
Okay.
We love our country, and the issue is if we can't be able to, open our minds or the government to listen to Nigerian youths, then most of these problems will never be solved.
All right, Mr. Chambers, I must thank you for coming on the program. President, United Nigerian Youth Congress, Mr. Nasser Suleiman Chambers, thank you for joining us from Abuja today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's move on now. The River State Commissioner of Police, Olatunji Disu, is assuring that the officers and men of the command are equipped to handle protests in River State. Mr. Disu made this known at the police officers' mess in Port Harcourt while addressing religious and traditional rulers as well as youth groups and other stakeholders. He said the peace of River State is paramount and must not be trifled with.
We want River State to remain. We have discussed again and again. We have agreed that we don't want any violence. Because looking back at the last one we had, that's the NSAS, the violence we witnessed, looting of various degrees. And we have been agreed that parents will go back home and talk to their children never to be part of this. The police have been trained to be very, very professional. And I assure you, we are going to come out and you will see professional police officers that particular period. We are dealing with human beings, and as police officers, we have our trainings and researches that we have done as officers. We know that there are 3 stages that have to do with this kind of protest. And that's the first stage we are talking about now. Calling everybody, talking to everybody, explaining to them, trying to make everybody see reason why we should have a peaceful day at the end of the day. That is what we are doing. That's why we called all the stakeholders together. And we have listened to them. A lot of advice has come from them, which we are going to implement. The other stage is, if they want to go out for the protest, what should we do? We are going to protect them. We are going to move out with them. We are going to find out their routes and ensure that it goes on peacefully. Then probably the last stage, if it goes out of hand, if they start looting. If people come out with arms, what should you do as police officers? All this has been put into consideration. Our officers have been trained, just like I mentioned to you. We will take the appropriate steps at the appropriate time.
Let's also tell you that a group of young Nigerians under the aegis of the Youth for Youth initiative has appealed to the Nigerian youth to explore peaceful means of engaging the federal government on resolving the economic hardship in the country. The body, in the press briefing, that's in Benin City, the Edo State capital, asked the government at all levels to step up in their efforts to address the hunger challenge that is ravaging the land. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.